truly is you relating through something that's happened in your life, or what you could imagine that might be for some maybe of our younger singers that maybe haven't had that full range of life experiences yet. But most of us in this room have in one way or another to connect to pretty much any song. Also.
And I'll submit that it's not exclusively emotional. Again, back to my example about that it can be vocal or musical that risk involves. So I think that being risk taking is not specifically exclusive to kind of a scenario.
Absolutely.
Devin, I think Dusty touches on a really important point that if you end up going to that acting place that doesn't come from a real place, it's very hard to get back to that place if you're allowing yourself to rehearse in a way that isn't real. So you've really got to be careful to balance the idea behind rehearsing the technical and also rehearsing yourself in the game. Because if you only rehearse the technical, you stay there, and if you only rehearse yourself in the game infrequently, you'll immediately go back to default, which will be that technical. So you've really got to allow yourself to go there more often than not.
If you want to go to that space, you know, take that risk, you really need to be quite confident about your vocal technical ability.
Or trusting of or trusting of the people who are listening to you. And I would submit that that's the more important part, that we as a group, as people, as individuals, are much more likely to be confident in ourselves and do something than we are to not be confident in ourselves and trust somebody else to do them. And I think, or trust somebody else to accept it and not reject it. And I think that that is the place where our champions go that some of our other groups don't. I think that what we're confident in doing, we do well.
One of the choruses that I was giving an evaluation to yesterday, I had asked one of the young guys, if I were to stop you in the middle of your performance after the introduction and ask you, could you have performed that any more emotionally? Could you have? If I stopped any of you in your performance after the introduction or after the first phrase and said, stop, 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 do you think you could have performed that? Do you think you could have connected to your emotion any more? Most of you would say, yes. And if I asked you, well, then why didn't you? Your answer would be, well, I didn't want to sing out of tune, or I needed to make sure I was with the, and those are all terrible things to be thinking about during a performance. So Tony's point about you sing from the heart. Who the hell are we to tell you how to feel about your performance? If you walked away from your score getting a 63 or a 64 and you went, those damn judges, oh my God, we must have sucked. Who the hell are we to tell you how to feel about your performance? Right? What you're doing is from the heart. We can't put a number to that unless it's not from the heart. Right? Then you have work to do. And if it is from the heart, the score will automatically reflect
You'll
that.
like the number from all the categories if it's from the heart.
We want success, yeah, sorry.
Vicky.
I know that in a quartet, when you're coming up with an emotional story or an emotional plan, it's much easier to find that unity across the four members of a quartet. When we're talking about a chorus and wanting to have a matched emotional output, even though it is genuine emotions coming from each of the singers, how much would you workshop that to ensure that each of the singers, when they have that emotion, it looks, sounds, feels appropriate for unit sound and unit emotion?
From a unit sound perspective, the answer is simple. There are two choices about how we create a unit sound. One is to mute those overtone series and say, okay, these ones are the most consistent for us, so we'll just maximize these ones. And then the other is to say, well, the proper series for this vowel is this, and we're going to have everybody match that one. And that involves a lot of trust from the director to the members of the group to always consistently do that ah, or that e, or that o. So from a chorus perspective, it's a very difficult task because most of us for years have said, okay, here's the solution, guys, right? Here's the solution, we sound like this on this vowel, and everybody kind of matches it. They match this kind of central point instead of using their own voice on the unified vowel. So we say, okay, we're all singing UH. Okay, guys, make sure you have your lips in the shape of a UH. Well, I'm shaped differently than all of you. You know what I mean? We're all different, and is not universal. But if we all sing that UH for each other, right? It takes a lot of trust and some rehearsal and some messing up before it really gels. You know, if you do it the same way every time, it's very likely that unless you're at the highest level, you are limiting yourself in terms of risk taking. It's okay to have voices standing out in rehearsal as long as everybody is going in the same direction about what the message is. From a unit sound perspective, that's what I'd say about that.
From an emotional standpoint, though, if you have a chorus of, I mean, how many of you sing in a chorus where you have people that come from different ages and backgrounds and lifestyles? Yes? So if you're singing a song that is, and here am I brokenhearted, and you have a young 15-year-old guy in your chorus who has never been brokenhearted.
We'll make sure he is after this.
You also have a 23-year-old who just got engaged 2 months ago and is in the height of all things love, and you also have a 45-year-old guy who might be going through a divorce. If you're singing brokenhearted and you're trying to get them to all emote the exact same thing at the exact same time, it is a difficult thing to do. That's why that's why there are only a few truly great choruses in the world, right? But I'll tell you, they will talk to every single member about it. They will find out your story. And to that one 15-year-old kid who has never felt brokenhearted, they won't just say, well, you know, look like this. They won't do that. They'll say, now listen, you may have not been brokenhearted in your life, but do you remember that one trip where the whole class was going to go to Sydney and you couldn't go because your grades were not good enough, and you fell on the floor, spinning in a circle, crying, pleading with your parents? Well, tap into that.
And you still made it here, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's literally about going to the chorus and saying, what are you thinking about when you're singing this song? We did this in a few of the evals. I asked a few of the quartets that were scoring in the 70s, in the high 70s. I said, who are you singing about? And they said, you know, we really didn't think about that.
To follow up on this point, my quartet sings a song I'm singing to my 20-month-old daughter. None of the other guys in the group have a 20-month-old daughter. One guy has two older daughters, you know, one in middle school and one in 5th grade, and the other two, you know, one of them's neither of them are married, neither of them have kids, and it's, you know, how is that message unified? But we all have places where we are emotionally connected to what we're talking about. You know, there are relationships in their lives that they're connecting to that connect with the story. And the idea is also, that goes all the way back to the audience. You know, not everybody in the audience has the same experience. So to have an emotional experience as an audience member, there has to be a bit of a universal difference between each person. It has to be really personal and individual. And that translates into unit sound. It translates into really growth musically, and inflection and tone color changes. Those are the things that affect different people about real emotion. So.
Definitely, I think, and it stems a lot from where it comes from. I mean, we all cry differently, we all smile differently, we all laugh very differently, and we've all got such different experience that unifying it ends up becoming that used car salesman so easily and so quickly that the reason we do this is for human experience, and we're sharing our own human experience and hoping that we can help someone live their own human experience again, and it has to be personal, it has to be real. And that's why I'm so excited about where the performance category is heading, because it comes from reality, it comes from human experience, and it comes from individual experience. And if that looks different on stage, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, because we can see if it's real and we can see if it's fake straight away.
So as choreography starting to take a back step to emotion.
Yeah, I don't know that choreography is taking a back step. I think that you'll see more appropriate choreography as we kind of move the category forward and going on, and choreography that maybe fits the song more than just putting it in for the sake of having to do that. Yeah, that's what the category was looking for 25 years ago, right? It was matching hands, and are we all doing it the same way? I mean, now we just want to feel. We want to know that it's real. We want to know why we're moving our arms. We're starting to ask those questions. Where before, I think it was just hoping that everyone would move their arms. We'll take real over imperfection all day long. If they happen to line up together, even better. But yeah.
I have a feeling within our chorus we're having an internal discussion about that without actually having that discussion at the moment. Yeah.
do what feels best for your group and for most importantly for the music. What the music demands. If you did a I Love a Parade song without any choreography, it might leave something to be desired, right? But if you were singing a song that was just kind of an easy beat feel, and you had all these kind of weird big moves, even if they were executed, perfectly, maybe that would take away from the real genuine emotion. It's going to be different probably for every song. But I don't know that it's taking a backseat. I think hopefully we're just going to be smarter about when and where to use it and what it looks like and how it helps bring the song to an audience.
Kind of on a similar note, so I'm in the festival space and the way you look tonight, we are really focused on owning your own story, and we never talked about any kind of unity across all of our singers, and it seemed as if that got picked up on. So
Yeah,
and
sure.
during like discussions and rehearsals and stuff, it seemed as if singers were hesitant to, I don't know, not change their emotions, but kind of shift to a unified emotion across because they felt that it would be fake. So how do you achieve the unity while still being real?
Awesome. So I know we probably don't have a lot of time. We could do a 5-hour class just on that one question. Right? So we'd love the opportunity to chat with you about sometime if you want to reach out to email or whatever. But we use something that I teach quite a bit called anchoring to real emotion. Right? So she asked the question about how do you have unity in different parts of the song when people from all different lifestyles, whatever. But you can talk about key moments of the song, right? Key moments of the song, a climax, a first verse, the bridge, whatever it is. And talk about different things that might be going on in a person's life that the song gives you. So my course last year at International did a song called Some Enchanted Evening. We had every guy on the risers share their story about the very first time they met that special person in their life, their partner, their wife, girlfriend, whatever. And it was tough because some of the guys had spouses that had passed on. So when they were seeing real emotion about this person that wasn't there anymore, they looked sad sometimes when in a big part of the song. So we had to go to that specific part of the song and anchor the most positive emotion about that person, the happiest moments, right, for different parts of the song. Find different key moments of the song, and you have to put in the work to talk to your guys. You have to talk to the singers about what the song is about to them, keeping it from a personal place, but again, finding anchors along the way and knowing you're the best part of your relationship, that one scene, that one best moment, or this is that first kiss with that person.
And the word kiss is a great example of a place where in the singing category we'd say that's an anchor, an important place for us because regardless of how that kiss came about, the expressive way of saying it is correct or incorrect, right?
Sure.
So I can, from a singing category perspective, say there's a more emotional and a less emotional way of saying this technically that allows us to more easily access that believable emotion. So I can say kiss or I can say kiss. And they're different, right? Thank you.
Very impressive.
You get the idea. I mean, there are places that are critical.
They spend far too much time together.
If I could just point one more thing out, I think it's awesome and incredible that the things we're talking about from all three categories, do you see that the commonality of all the categories at the highest levels are talking about what? What are we all talking about? Believability, being real experiences, genuine, honesty. And that's where we're headed. And again, it was a fantastic weekend. I think every single group up there can go a lot further in that direction to take the whole organization to a new place.
Definitely. One thing that I've got from this, and one thing that's always in the back of my mind as a musician, is one 3-letter word question, and that is why. And always asking ourselves why. Why was that lyric chosen? Why was that line of music chosen? Why was that chord chosen? Why was that swipe chosen? Why am I lifting my arm here? Why are my eyebrows raising here? Why am I smiling and why am I crying? Asking ourselves that question of why in every aspect of what we do will enlighten you so much more, just being sensitive to the music that we choose. I just want to leave you with a quote that I heard recently, which is sticking with me terribly, but in all the right ways, and that is that we are the humble servant of the music and the faithful messenger of the composer. We're the humble servant of the music and the faithful messenger of the composer. So we have a gift that we get to share, and the only way that we're going to share that is if we tap into our own human emotion, asking ourselves that question of why. Why of ourselves, but also why of the music. Thank you very much, these four gentlemen right here.
Cool, all right, thanks Alex. Thanks guys. We're about, 13 minutes behind schedule, so we're just going to push everything back so slightly. That'll be all good. I'm sure you won't mind cutting 10 minutes into your dinner break for all of this excellent knowledge. Okay, so you guys don't want to sit here. You guys, if you want to go. I'm going to chuck you that way. There's a big lounge area. Yeah.
Okay. That way.
Yeah, we're going to go that way. Cool.
Sorry, just before everyone runs off, in terms of dinner tonight, there's no formal plans. However, I have reserved a space at the West Club at 6 o'clock. So if anyone wants to head there for a quick cheap meal, they know we're in a bit of a rush. They've got a quick meal service tonight for a show, so they've marked us down as a quick service. I've actually got a menu which I'll leave up on the table here, just so you can have a quick look. There's like 8 options, and they can get them out really quickly. So if anyone wants to join us for dinner over there, it could be an easy and quick option, and then we'll get started again at 7 straight after that. I'll leave the menus on the table here. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Okay, so I've got a list of PVIs already. If you haven't put your name down, it's pretty much filled up, just so you know, already. So that's really good. Okay, so here's what's happening with PVIs. Hopefully I've got your names correct, but some of you have really shocking handwriting. So here it goes. It was up there and people have already filled it out, and I've already pretty much filled up this box.
Hang on a sec, you said pretty much, and then you said almost. So you mean there's room left, right?
There potentially will be. Put your name down, and I will. Yes, so pretty much and almost means we may be able to squeeze a couple more in at the end of the session tomorrow, but I cannot guarantee that. So for the 4 o'clock session, which is now, with Tony over this way in that lounge area, will be Dan Bennett, and then at the 7:45 session, so that's after the dinner break, with Tony will be John Osborne. That's right, John, yeah. And then at the 8:45 session will be Bill Redden. Is that right? Bill, yeah, cool. Then at the 4 o'clock session with Aaron Hughes. So there's a toilet block here, and there's a corridor that you go through. There's a door at the end that takes you to. There's 2 dressing rooms back there next to each other behind the stage. So that's where the other PVIs will be. Anthony will be down that way. All the other PVIs will be just back around here. So at the 4 o'clock session we have, I think is it John King, or is that right? And then 5 o'clock with Aaron will be Paul, was it Miners or? Miners, yep. And then Kevin Hughes back here for a 5 o'clock session will be